You can see the beautiful Bass Strait in the background there. We saw down there Claudio Corti. He's alongside Aleix Espargaro on the 5th row of the grid. Johnny Hernandez, of course, a couple of problems for a couple of people during qualifying yesterday, but doing the business into 15th on that 5th row. Still a replacement, of course, for Ben Spies at Pramac Ducati.
Yeah, wish Ben Spies well. Sure he'd like to be here at this magnificent circuit. Hiroshi Oyama, rumoured he may join Nicky Hayden in that Aspar team next season. Just one podium finish here. He was third in 250s back in 2006, the former 250cc world champion. But he's come into a bit of form lately, hasn't he, Hiroshi Oyama?
Yeah, been doing quite well in the recent races. 14th twice and then 11th last time out. But he's been right up there challenging the top CRT riders.
Danilo Petrucci sporting a very nice beard look, but the 100th Grand Prix for the Iota team.
Yes, came along with the Moto 3 class, building their own bike. Giampiero Sacchi's got a lot more than that under his belt, though, of course, he's the team owner.
Certainly has plenty of World Championships there. For the down, this is Michael Lafferty, of course, the Ulsterman making his debut here at Phillip Island, and a little bit worried about having to use a second bike, I think.
Yeah, he said brakes don't feel too great on his second bike, nor the electronics. So that's one of the things that this throws into the pot, the fact that they're going to have to go out on a bike that's generally, we talk about riders prefer one bike throughout the whole weekend, and they'll have been working harder on it this morning.
5 minutes before the start of round 16, the MotoGP World Championship. We're at the Grand Prix of Australia, a 19-lap race, but a mandatory pit stop to change bikes or change tyres.
It's a fantastic location, such a great circuit, and yeah, everyone loves coming here. Brian Starring probably more than many, though, because he's in his debut season in MotoGP. I'm not sure he's going to be around next year, but look at that big smile on his face, ready for a home race, starting from the 7th row of the grid in 21st. Now, the only decision the riders have to make is on the front tyre. The Yamaha's going with the extra soft tyre, and the Honda there of Marc Marquez going with the soft option. I think we'd almost expected that anyway. The Yamaha did prefer that tyre.
Almost a bit of silence descending. History in the making. Will it be history also for Marc Marquez winning the world title, the youngest ever and the first rookie since Kenny Roberts way back in 1978?
Yeah, and it's the first time the rider's going to be forced to make a mandatory stop in the pits to change bikes. They've been offered it before in wet races. The last time it happened was Mugello back in 2009. But it's going to happen again today. This time not for the weather, although that is a problem. It's going to happen because of tyre life. What will happen in the race? We've got Rossi on the front row, a 5-time winner in the MotoGP class. Marc Marquez, who leads this man, Jorge Lorenzo, by 43 points in the championship. Can Lorenzo claw back, or can Marquez become champion?
So welcome back to Phillip Island. I'm Nick Harris, sitting alongside me, Gavin Emmett. Down in pit lane, Dylan Gray. Round 16, the MotoGP World Championship.
Front row then, Jorge Lorenzo, Marc Marquez and Valentino Rossi, with Alvaro Bautista, Danny Pedrosa, winner last time out, from 5th on the grid, and Cal Crutchlow in 6th.
Third row of the grid, Bradley Smith, Nicky Hayden and Andrea Dovizioso on those factory Ducatis. Then Andrea Iannone, Colin Edwards top CRT and Randy De Punier.
Further back, Aleix Espargaro, not quite as he has been all season, heading up row 5 with Corti and Hernandez. Hiroshi Oyama heads up row 6 alongside Danilo Petrucci and Michael Laverty. Hector Barbara heading up row 7 with Scassa and Starring. And then Lucas Peszek and Damian Cudlin, his birthday yesterday, and he's starting a MotoGP race from that back row of the grid for the first time here at home in Australia. Confirmation then. Distance of this race will be 19 laps. They have to change bikes, or at least change tyres, once during the race. It will be after lap 9 or 10 that they have to do that. They can make more if they want. It's not going to help them having that long run through pit lane. Have a look at that white line there at turn 1. Where it ends is where they effectively rejoin the race from pit lane.
Well, history was made here in 2006 with that very first flag-to-flag race. History once again. A mandatory pit stop in MotoGP and a World Championship up for grabs. Dylan, how are we looking weather-wise?
Well, mid to late 20s temperature. It's quite nice. It's still dry at the moment. We do have some ominous clouds, really hoping that they don't open up for rain, but let's stay positive, and I reckon it should stay dry.
Well, let's hope it does do for the next 3/4 of an hour. It's actually going to take a lot less than that, because it's effectively 3/4 distance, 2/3 distance of the original race of 27 laps. So maybe a half an hour sprint really for MotoGP. But even though it's going to be shorter in terms of length, it's not going to be short on excitement at all.
Remember those opening laps a week ago at Sepang in Malaysia, the scrap between Marc Marquez and Jorge Lorenzo. I'm sure that could well be repeated, because Lorenzo wants to push the title all the way to the limit. But Marc Marquez could be crowned world champion, and there is the gap. 43 points between them. Dani Pedrosa still in the hunt, but only just. And Valentino Rossi in 4th place.
Yeah, if Marquez wins and Lorenzo is 3rd, he is world champion. He needs to take 7 points out of the reigning world champion, who has been hit 2nd here last year.
Big race for Jorge Lorenzo. Absolutely superb in qualifying, decimating Casey Stoner's 5-year-old lap record to take pole position. Marc Marquez's father on the right there looks on. This could be a very special day for the Marquez family. He's in the middle of that front row of the grid, surrounded by the 2 Yamahas. Valentino Rossi, 5 times MotoGP winner here. Jorge Lorenzo won his world title here last year when he finished 2nd to Casey Stoner. Will we have a new world champion after 19 laps here at Phillip Island?
Great start from Lorenzo and from Rossi on the front row of the grid. Lorenzo's practiced this so many times over recent weeks. Pedrosa comes through on the inside. Another great launch from him, just as a week ago in Malaysia. A background on the outside comes Dani Pedrosa, and Marquez into 2nd. Smith has made another brilliant start. He's up into 4th place at the start of this race, but it's Lorenzo leading from Marquez 2nd. Pedrosa now into 3rd.
Through the southern loop they come into the Casey Stoner corner. It's the 2 Hondas chasing the Yamaha as they break now for the hairpin first time round.
Well, Marquez got very close to the back of Lorenzo. He was sat up. Lorenzo really did actually mess it up, and it's allowed Pedrosa to come through and take the lead into Siberia. Lorenzo comes straight back. Marquez through on the inside as well. It started hot already in MotoGP here.
What a start by Bradley Smith. He's given Marc Marquez a bit of a problem as they go past the hay shed up towards Lukey Heights. Dani Pedrosa, sorry.
Yeah, and it just meant there's a bit of breathing room there. Oh, got so tight between them in the first couple. This is going to be hot and furious, although the temperature may not be that way out on track as Rossi comes through on Bradley Smith.
Rossi knew he had to get through, didn't he? But they're going to get away at the front. Mistake by Lorenzo. He's corrected that, and now he has a searing pace at the front. End of the first lap approaching.
One of the Ducatis, it seemed, or one of the bikes got pushed wide there at MG corner as Cal Crutchlow also came through on Andrea Iannone. It could have been Iannone actually, forced wide as they come across the line. Lorenzo leads by half a second from Marc Marquez. Pedrosa in 3rd. Things have settled down a bit. Bradley Smith trying everything he can to get back in front of Valentino Rossi and also stay in front of Alvaro Bautista. Been a good start from Smith, hasn't it? Who's looked the best we've seen him so far in MotoGP, but forced wide really by Alvaro Bautista through turn 2.
Jorge Lorenzo leads the way. There he is. Valentino Rossi and Bautista both past Bradley Smith, but that gap may have opened up too much between them as they break for the hairpin. It was a mistake by Lorenzo last lap. Pedrosa closes right up on Marc Marquez. He crashed here last year, Dani Pedrosa, very early on in the race.
Marquez had followed Lorenzo in on the brakes on the previous lap and allowed Pedrosa through. This time they all come through solidly enough, and they're pulling away from Valentino Rossi, who's had to fight to get past Smith, and Bautista has also got through. Cal Crutchlow is a place behind the rookie. Marquez now has settled down into a rhythm, trying to close in on Lorenzo. It's this section where the Yamaha is stronger, and there are the bikes waiting. They will come in at the end of lap 9 or 10, ready to change those machines.
How will it change the complexion of this race? Marquez has got to win, and to win the world title, Dani Pedrosa has got to push Jorge Lorenzo back to third place. Lorenzo looks in good nick though, doesn't he?
He's been practicing going quick right from the off. Let's have a look at this. The first full flying lap from Lorenzo as he comes across the line. A 1:28.315, stunning lap from Lorenzo. That would have put him in third place on the grid.
Two Hondas chasing after him. We have to start thinking about, it's a little way away, we have to start thinking about these mandatory pit stops.
Searing pace though from Lorenzo. It's matched actually by Marquez and Pedrosa on lap 2, but as I say, that's quicker. Pedrosa's gone 4/10 quicker than he managed in qualifying yesterday, sliding the rear tyre, Lorenzo, through turn 3 as he pulls away from Marquez. What Marquez needs to happen is to get in front of Lorenzo and then Pedrosa to come through. I think in a way this decision runs into Yamaha's favour just because we've seen them start strong, especially Lorenzo, and fade in the latter stages of a race. Well, there won't be that much time for them to fade.
Cal Crutchlow's got past his teammate Bradley Smith. Smith 7th, Hayden 8th, Iannone 9, Dovizioso 10. We look further down. Alessio Spargo and Randy Depunier fighting it out for the top CRT place.
It could have been Colin Edwards actually. It was hung out at MG corner a couple of laps ago because he's now down into 14th spot.
Yeah, Michael Lafferty at the moment running in 22nd place. No finer sight than Lorenzo riding like that, is there?
He looks great around this track. It just so smooth, very much a contrast to the way Marquez is riding. Aggressive, Stoner-esque almost, the way he attacks this circuit, especially through turn 3. Again, in the mid 128s for Lorenzo and Marquez on that lap. I just think that Lorenzo is going for it as much as he can, and then it's a case of, right, I'll deal with what situation I've got on tyres after that. They've got to run the harder option that was brought here by Bridgestone. They've tried 2 other tyres. The softer option looks great, but inside, Bridgestone said when they cut one open it was blistering. They also had the contingency extra hard tyre, and that unfortunately just wasn't getting enough heat in, and the riders were suffering with it considerably. Now Marquez is closing in on Lorenzo. I don't think they can sustain the mid 128 pace for too long.
15.5 laps to go. They're down at Siberia. That's the gap. Lorenzo over Marquez. Danny Pedrosa still in third place. So we keep stressing if Marquez did win the race, Pedrosa would have to get in front of Lorenzo to give Marquez the world title with 2 rounds still remaining. And we've still got the pit stops.
Top Ducati at the moment is Andrea Iannone, who's just got through on Nicky Hayden into 8th place. All credit to Iannone. It's been a tough year, but he really likes racing at this circuit, and he's passed his Ducati colleague, I suppose, Nicky Hayden.
Very quickly, Dylan, are they ready and waiting?
Yeah, we've got the bikes outside here in pit lane, all of them lined up, and as we saw with Lorenzo now showing L6, so 6 more laps to go, and then he'll be coming in.
Same for Marquez as well, 6 laps to his pit stop.
They're all going to come in together, aren't they? It's going to be tight.
I just think that would be the end of the 10th lap by the looks of things. There's Casey Stoner watching on with Chris Hillard from Alpine Stars. Stoner, I expect he'd love to be out there in a way, and he just had so much dominance at this circuit over the recent years that I don't think he'd like the idea of having to change bike, because that's just an unknown that you cannot control.
Marquez certainly closes up on Jorge Lorenzo as they come into the hairpin. 14 and a laps to go. It may be down to Danny Pedrosa, this World Championship winning ride, if it's going to happen here. We ride with Lorenzo. That's Marquez right behind him. It's getting tighter and tighter, and the pit stops to come.
We're on board with Jorge Lorenzo. He's actually run that wider line into Siberia on every lap so far, taking a wider line, carry as much corner speed as he can through the corner, so you get the tighter entry from the Honda, much more stable on the front end. One thing the Yamahas have struggled with, and the wind hasn't helped that, it picks up the front just that little bit of a touch as it gets under the fairing. That's why you see those holes drilled into the front of Jorge Lorenzo's bike, and the contact between the front tyre and the track is why they've gone with that softer front tyre. He's being told now that Marquez is closing, and closing fast.
And 5 laps to go before he has to come in. Onto the Gardner Straight they come. 900 metres straight down towards the Doohan corner.
Well, Pedrosa being told 6 more laps to go till he comes in. So it could well be that he comes in the lap after, and it just depends. Is it going to be clearer when Pedrosa comes in to Marquez and Lorenzo, who seem to be on the same strategy?
Also, you're going to benefit from 1 more lap on an almost empty fuel load as well, so it'll be interesting to see if he can pull out a bit of a pace there.
That's the other thing, isn't it? Obviously, the fuel is going to be lower on that the other bike. They will have calculated, so they're both on a similar kind of thing. But yeah, you're right. When they get to this end part of this first part of the race, he'll have that little bit of a lighter bike.
This World Championship is really on a knife edge now, because Marquez, no doubt, is lining up Jorge Lorenzo. Will he try to get past him before the pit stops? Should he do that? We're in unknown territory here.
Yes, definitely. Always has to try and get through, you'd have thought, because any advantage going into pit lane first surely is an advantage. You don't have anyone to worry about in front of you braking going into the pit lane. When you're coming out, you're hopefully still in front.
Through MG corner they come, up over the rise. This is a session of left-handers that bring them back to the start and finish. Mandatory bike swap. We're looking forward to that, I can assure you.
Yeah, at the end of lap 10, they have to have been into the pit. They've completed 5 laps of the race now. This will be the end of lap 6. Pedrosa is closing. Pedrosa is a couple of tenths quicker on that last lap. He didn't, again, as I thought, Lorenzo's pace has dropped down to the low 129s. He couldn't keep that mid 128 pace going. It's Valentino Rossi who's struggling a little bit. He's at the back of the group with Bautista and Crutchlow.
Well, we've seen this trio battle it out a few times pretty fiercely as well, as they fight it out for fourth place. But at the front, it is a very interesting situation. You don't have to keep needing to remind you, but if Marquez could win and Pedrosa could get in front of Lorenzo, and he is closing up Dani Pedrosa, he would be the 2013 MotoGP World Champion.
Just bunches up a bit more at the Honda hairpin. You see that wider line from Lorenzo through Siberia every single time, trying to keep the pace going through the corners. Again, that won't help the tyres necessarily too much. What the Honda likes to do, what they like to do, is get the bike stood up, get it on the fatter part of the tyre, and perhaps that's why they can just seem to be able to conserve the tyres a bit longer and find the grip when the Yamaha riders don't have it. Crutchlow has got through now on Alvaro Bautista and into 4th place, puts him in prime spot really to pick up any pieces of anything that goes on in front here, because Dani Pedrosa actually closes in on Marquez rather than the other way around.
These pit stops are going to be absolutely crucial. Into the Gardner Straight. Jorge Lorenzo still leads the way. 3 laps before the pit stop. 0.3, they say, he leads Marc Marquez as he races across the line around 215 miles an hour down into the 4th gear Doohan corner. So
it'll be 2 laps next time for Marc Marquez. It's all just building up, isn't it? They're so tight. When they come into pit lane, they're going to have to go at 60 kilometres an hour when they come into the pits. We'll have a timer on to see who does the best as well, and they're stopped through the pits.
In one, they're telling now Jorge Lorenzo, so when he goes through next time round, it will be after that, and then the fun and games start, and Marquez, as he always does, closes up at the Honda hairpin.
Yeah, the Honda is just so much better on the brakes at the moment this season, just the way it's worked out this year. That Honda just seems a lot more stable, a lot more comfortable, and with the added question mark of the wind and that kind of thing around this track, it enhances that as well. One thing is, in terms of the temperature, it's not as high as it has been as it was yesterday. That will be another just little extra help for Lorenzo.
I feel nervous what they must be like in pit lane, because it could be a world championship decided on these pit stops, and we're not used to pit stops in MotoGP.
Oh, Marquez got so close to Lorenzo coming through turn 11. Was there a moment for Lorenzo? Did he miss a gear or something there? This was it in MG. Change. Oh, and he did have a bit of a moment in there. Marquez around the outside and really bunched things up. Down the straight, they come across the line. There are 2 tenths covering the top 3, and they're going to possibly come in at the end of this. They're on lap 9 now. They have to come in on this lap or the next one.
Through the southern loop they come, the 2 Hondas hunting down the Yamaha of the world champion Jorge Lorenzo. We'll ride with Lorenzo right in his face. 93, the champion select, of course, Marc Marquez through the Casey Stoner corner and down towards the hairpin. We ride with Marquez.
He's been strong on the brakes here every single lap so far, but Lorenzo doing everything he can to stay in front. Are there going to be any overtakes when they come in to change tyres in the pits, to change their bikes as well? Dani Pedrosa just getting a little bit squiggly going into the Siberia corner. They accelerate out of there through the fastest parts of the circuit, really, through turn 7, then into the hay shed.
Dylan, I think certainly Lorenzo's coming in, certainly Marcus. Do we know about Pedrosa?
We've got the crews ready. Danny's crew is also looking ready, even though we think he's staying out a lap longer. No, Danny's tyre warmers are coming off now.
So all three of them could be coming in on this lap as they go through MG corner. Just have a look, the pit entrance is coming up on the left-hand side. They've got to hit 60 kilometres an hour before they come in, and they're not coming through actually. Lorenzo's decided to stay out, as has Marquez, and Pedrosa is coming. It's the opposite way round to what we expected. See how hard Pedrosa was on the brakes there, almost a stoppie from him as he comes through the pits. So he will get a lap all by himself, but it'll be on fresh tyres out on the track. This must seem like an eternity for Pedrosa as he runs through. Bautista also comes into the pits, but Crutchlow has stayed out there and he's in third in the race. Rossi is in fourth.
Yeah, Pedrosa in, Bautista in, Bradley Smith also in. Those are the three in at the moment as Pedrosa leaves pit lane.
Great changeover from Pedrosa, very quick, very smooth.
And now he goes out, and this will seem interminable as well. The run out back onto the track. How much will the tyres call for him? So Lorenzo and Marquez are going to have to come in together, and there's nothing to choose between them. Where are they going to rejoin? How much will Pedrosa be able to put in on his first lap out of the pits? They both run a little bit wide this time in Siberia. Dovizioso, Iannone, Edwards, all coming through. Bautista, Smith, Iannone, also other riders to have run through on that lap. We saw Peshek as well, Edwards, Cudlin, and Johnny Hernandez, and Danilo Petrucci as Marc Marquez has a bit of a moment now. I don't think it will affect it too much in terms of time, but is that the tyres? Is that the warning that the tyres are going?
Right down at MG corner. Let's have a look. This is where we crashed in on Friday's practice.
Almost exactly the same place as well. They've got to come in now. Marquez has stayed out there. Marc Marquez has stayed out on the track. I do not believe this, but surely Marquez has gone a lap too far. What is going to happen now? That must be a miscommunication between himself and the team.
Marc Marquez had to come in here from what I gather.
Yeah, completely.
And he's surely going to be penalised now.
That was the end of lap 10. The world champion who leads by 43 points could be set for some kind of penalty.
Whoa, he's off. He nearly crashed into the mechanic. Great stop by Jorge Lorenzo, but it does look like a big mistake for Marc Marquez and the Repsol Honda crew.
Now, where is Danny Pedrosa going to be as Rossi and Crutchlow? Rossi has rejoined ahead of Crutchlow, so Rossi's got the advantage over Crutchlow.
He literally Rossi, very quick stop, not what we expected actually, and yeah, just managed to squeeze himself out in front.
Now we need to watch where Lorenzo rejoins on the track, because Danny Pedrosa is coming around the final corner now. Lorenzo will be at 60k, there he is, look, as Pedrosa is bombing it down the straight. He's going to hit, as soon as he hits 60k, it'd be like a start again. Here comes Pedrosa down into turn one. Suddenly he's going to pop up with Jorge Lorenzo there. We're on board now with Danny Pedrosa, and Lorenzo still has the lead, but his tyres won't be up to temperature just yet.
Wow, and what is going to happen to Marc Marquez? We wait to see what the situation's going to be. He should have come in, Marc Marquez. I can't believe he didn't come in when Lorenzo did. And I think the rules were pretty clear, weren't they, that they couldn't do more than...
Danny Pedrosa has been told that he needs to drop a position. Pedrosa has been told to drop a position in this race. That's according to our timing screens, but I'm not sure I understand. Has he passed someone under a yellow flag or something? Did he cross over perhaps on the inside of the pit lane? I'm not sure, but he needs to drop a position. But behind him, on track, we haven't got the details yet, because he hasn't come through as Marquez runs and gets back into the race. Surely we think a lap too late, but Rossi, I think, is about 6 seconds down on Pedrosa, and if he drops a position, he's lost this race.
Right, let's take a big deep breath. Because 7.5 laps to go,
and Marquez is about to rejoin the battle at the front. What a crazy 2 or 3 laps in the race. We've seen now that Lorenzo and Pedrosa are about to come through. Marquez has a big look behind, but here they come down the home straight.
7 laps to go when they cross the line. We will have a look at pit lane with Marc Marquez in. Here he comes. Has he got out in front? No, Lorenzo will still lead the way. It's going to be...
Oh,
they touched
no, they
in
really
the Doohan
have
corner.
touched.
They touched then in the Doohan corner as he came out of pit lane.
Yeah,
and Marquez now runs it a bit wide.
And cold tyres for Marquez, but Lorenzo was taking no prisoners there. That was the worry that Lorenzo pointed out yesterday, that he's going round that corner, and you see Marquez pulling across. I can't criticise Lorenzo for that. He's just taking his normal line. Marquez, in turn, is cutting through the corner because he's at a slower pace. That was their worry, and they have come to blows. But thankfully, I think it was just the guard on Lorenzo's brake lever, perhaps something. On Marquez's bike. That was the only thing that went loose.
7.5 laps to go. What an incredible race here at Phillip Island, but it's still Jorge Lorenzo that leads the way.
It was Dani Pedrosa who had exceeded the speed of pit lane. He stopped at the wrong line, and that is going to be dropping a position. Yet, actually, now Marquez is behind him. He just needs to let Marquez through, and I suppose he had done. Oh, this is really going to confuse things. But Marquez is behind by quite a long way. This championship is going on to Japan.
There we go.
He's not being told by his pit board either, so he doesn't know that.
It obviously was exceeding the speed limit in the pit lane, as you say. He chose the wrong marker. He chose the old marker, not the new one.
They were extended for safety reasons this morning. They were all warned about it. Cal Crutchlow got it wrong this morning and almost ran up the back of Marc Marquez.
What a moment down in the Doohan curve when Lorenzo at full speed did touch Marc Marquez as he came out of pit lane. Right, Dylan, can you help us?
Well, no note on the Marquez situation yet. However, they are putting petrol into the bike, got the computer plugged in, look to be playing with the ECU, so they do seem to be preparing to head out again. No other team naturally is doing the same.
Marc, just help us a little bit here. Do you think that he went a lap too long?
I personally think he went one too long.
Yeah, I think both Gavin and I agree with that. So that means he will have to come in again for another pit stop, yeah? There's silence here.
You have to run a maximum of 10 tyres. That's what the
sorry,
rule said
he's
this
done
morning.
the extra lap,
he's run 11 laps on the tyre.
Sorry,
so
yeah.
I would assume, as far as I'm concerned, he did run 1-2 more. It's just he's got the 43-point lead in the championship, and I don't know what's going to happen here for Marc Marquez now. Again, couldn't be penalty points on his licence again, could it? And he starts the Japanese race from the back of the grid. I don't know.
We ride with Valentino Rossi, great battle for 4th place in front of him, behind him, so Cal Crutchlow and Alvaro Bautista. We've seen these three battling out so much. That race in Indianapolis was pretty fierce old stuff. I think all three of them enjoyed it immensely. But drama at the front. And there's still 5, well, when they cross the line, there's 6 laps to go. Rossi still leads the way, another 4th place at the moment from Crutchlow.
Well, he did well. He was the one who did best in the pit lane, simply because he entered behind Crutchlow and exited in front of him, but Rossi having real problems down at turn 2. He runs it a bit wide, and Crutchlow is able to come through. Now, Pedrosa is giving up a lap, giving up his place to Marquez. So that could be immaterial. Are there spots of rain out there?
Do you know what? Just as you say that, a few minute ones. It's you can't call it rain that's going to affect anything at the moment, but worrying that it started anyway.
Oh my goodness me, what a day, what an unbelievable MotoGP race. Worrying times for Yamaha. Lynn Jarvis has gone down to speak to Herta as well.
And
see
I'm
what
sure
the
that's about the
situation
Marc Marquez situation,
Yeah.
wouldn't you, just to see.
Well, Pedrosa has dropped his 1 place now.
That was easy to work out. We saw what that reason was. He obviously, with the
Whether
wrong
he meant
marker,
to or not, it's another matter.
I'm sure he didn't mean to.
Marquez has just set a new fastest lap of the race, a 1:28.108. And Mike Leitner, Dani Pedrosa's crew chief, is chatting with Rick Crichton from Herta as well. Marquez is just being told to go for it now. He's 6/10 quicker than Lorenzo on that lap. He wants this one, and he'll be fighting. Marc Marquez has been black flagged. Just came up, and it is Marc Marquez will not be getting any points, and if Lorenzo wins, it will be, oh my goodness me, it will be 18 points separating them in the championship with 2 rounds to go.
He's been black flagged because he ran over the time, didn't he? He came in 1 lap too late. The 2013 World Championship has been blown wide open. Oh, there's some arguments. Nakagami there having
That's
an argument.
Nakamoto.
Having a big argument there. But from what we see from here and what Dylan said as well, he did break the rules, Marc Marquez.
Black flag though, yeah, ignored the pit-in window. We're being told that's what it's for. We suggested, we didn't know what they could do. and it's going to be a black flag for Marc Marquez. This is incredible scenes here at Phillip Island. Jorge Lorenzo could be about to claw through. Hands going up as well because the rain is falling here at Phillip Island.
Can anything else happen in this race?
That's the hand going up from Jorge Lorenzo. He wants this race over. Marc Marquez won't believe this.
No, but it was a miscalculation. Is he slow?
He's coming
Is
straight
that because
in.
of the rain? He's coming in.
That's it. He knows he's seen the black flag and he's just thinking, I do not believe this. That's miscommunication between everyone there in the team. That's exactly what's happened.
Got to be honest though, Gav. We sit up here, and me in particular, not the brightest with numbers, but it was pretty simple to work out, wasn't it? He'd done the extra lap. I can't believe that this has happened. It's unbelievable for Marc Marquez. But he's 25 points down.
This is an incredible weekend of action.
He said in
MotoGP.
Sepang he wanted a flag-to-flag race. He wouldn't have not wanted this. Have a look.
Oh, disappointment. 43 points. The lead is about to be hacked apart. Oh, my goodness. It's going to be his second DNF of the season. But the last time it was a crash from second place. He's been either first or second now in the last 9 races. And this time, it's going to be a 0. It's going to be a big... Brian Starring, another one who's also going to have a black flag, the Aussie, in his home race. He's going to have to come in.
There you go, Marquez out. They are telling Jorge Lorenzo 3 laps ago, Marc Marquez out of the race. He probably doesn't know the reason why.
He probably will have seen the black flag, though, going round. Probably thought, that's not a 99, is it? It was actually the 93. And there's going to be a bit of a debrief here, and someone finger pointing, I'm sure, somewhere.
I wonder if it was Marquez's fault. I wonder just in the heat of battle.
Well, no, but it confused me, though, with the way they were saying 5 laps or 5 to go or whatever. They're telling 3 now to Lorenzo. Remember they said to Lorenzo, 1 and in.
Yes, they did. And in the battle, it says, but you want to know when you've got to come in, don't you? And they told him very, very clearly.
Rather than 2 laps or 1 lap to go. If he thought 1 lap to go, he might be thinking 1 complete lap.
Oh, look at that World Championship. 18 points between Marquez and Lorenzo. If it remains the same with 2 rounds to go, it's not over yet.
Of course, we go to Motegi next time out in just 7 days' time. Honda's home race, of course. And Marquez still has a chance to win the championship there with a victory and Lorenzo in 3rd, just as it was here. But it's just means that the door is open once more. And Cal Crutchlow is in the battle for a podium finish here with Valentino Rossi and Jorge Lorenzo, and Alvaro Bautista. But Rossi has just gone through on him. This is a battle for 3rd place now.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Here they come up through Siberia, 2.5 laps ago. What else can happen? Probably there's another twist to the story, but this is absolutely massive as far as the World Championship goes, and you've got to say Honda have made one massive mistake.
Hiroshi Oyama was being told to drop a position, but he's actually come in. He entered the pits, rejoined the race, and he's come back in again, gone back out again. So he's given himself his own ride-through penalty.
Disaster for Honda. There's a mandatory pit stop. We've seen Danny Pedrosa having to drop back a place because he didn't have the speed limit on at the right time. He broke the speed limit in pit lane, and then incredibly Marc Marquez black flagged. It's going to be a great race, isn't it, for this final podium position? Of course, on the podium here last year was Cal Crutchlow. He finished 3rd in that race. Alvaro Bautista still chasing his first podium of the season. He is a winner here at Phillip Island in the 125cc class, and the man leading them both, 7 times winner at Phillip Island. This will go all the way to the wire. We can understand this one. This is a straight race, isn't it?
Oof, Alvaro Bautista thought about going through, sparks flying as well as he goes round. Now Cal Crutchlow was blocked there by Rossi, goes tight to the inside. That will allow Crutchlow to close in on the exit. Is there any way through at Siberia? Not this time. 1.5 laps to go in the battle for the final place on the podium. There's the black flag. It looks like Damien Cudlin is going to get the black flag as well.
One would imagine for the same reason, wouldn't you?
Well, he also seemed to come in quite late.
Yeah, Cudlin and Starring, both to the Australians, having a disastrous day at the office.
And again, I'm not being too critical, but surely, well, I suppose perhaps that's difficult for the riders, and perhaps they just don't look at their pit board when they're in the heat of battle, but if somebody like me can work out when you've got to come in, I cannot believe that Marc Marquez has made such a mistake. 1 lap to go for Jorge Lorenzo, and a sniff of retaining that world title.
I've never seen a MotoGP race like this. We said it was going to be thrilling, said it was going to be exciting. It's a little bit controversial as well because of the way things have happened. The collision between Lorenzo and Marquez aside, it wasn't Lorenzo's fault that Marquez came in a lap too late.
Certainly wasn't. It's a mistake by Marc Marquez, and it's a mistake by the team. And it was very, very clear, the instructions everybody was given, what you had to do, and they did not do it. Dani Pedrosa's slightly different, although, you know, a rider of his experience and everything that was going on, to speed in pit lane again is a big mistake.
Oh, Rossi holding off Crutchlow down into the Honda hairpin. This one will go down to the MG corner. Who will take the final spot on the podium? Is it going to be Rossi, Crutchlow, or Alvaro Bautista? It's been like this over the last few races. Rossi's won out on most occasions recently, but Crutchlow will be desperate to repeat his podium from here 1 year ago. Meanwhile, Lorenzo, where they'll probably be trying to overtake each other, is in the lead. And look at the delight, look at the tension on Wilco Zeelenberg's face and on Lin Jarvis's face. They are back in the hunt of the championship. Bautista made it through on Crutchlow, but he's also affected Crutchlow's run at Valentino Rossi. Rossi has the perfect line coming through turn 11.
Jorge Lorenzo wins the Australian Grand Prix here at Phillip Island, and he has blown the 2013 World Championship wide open.
Oh, unbelievable day as Dani Pedrosa takes second place. Who's going to take third in the run to the line as they come through? Actually, Crutchlow beats Bautista to the line. It's Rossi on the podium in third.
And we could not have been more lucky with the weather, because now it is starting to drizzle down here properly.
And there's still riders out there, of course. Bradley Smith should be the next one across the line. Here he comes. Great ride from Smith, finishing in 6th place in this race. Nicky Hayden has come through in 7th, and Iannone beats Dovizioso to 8th spot as the rain starts to tumble down here. This is unbelievable.
Well, the repercussions, just everything will kick off from this very moment at the end of the race. But from where we sit, it looks like the rules were broken. They were very, very clear indeed, and it looks like a massive mistake and another superb ride by Jorge Lorenzo. I bet he cannot believe what has happened. 18 points, and he still can do it.
What do they always say, that the championship is never over?
Well, look at Moto 2.
Until
Just
it's
look at Moto 2.
over.
That's absolutely right. Now then.
They were talking about there down at Honda what the decisions were. How did this happen? How did it go wrong? Marquez was so quick, he was closing in on Jorge Lorenzo, but it wasn't to be.
I'm sure they told him to come in, don't you? I mean, everybody we spoke to said it was going to be down to the riders, but they missed it. And got to say, Jorge Lorenzo's Yamaha board was very, very clear indeed when they wanted him in.
Not in his wildest dreams. Not in his wildest dreams would he have imagined this was a possibility.
I'm speechless. I really am, and that's a pretty rare occurrence.
Dani Pedrosa will be happy enough with second. It didn't quite go right staying out that lap longer for him. Oh, dear me. You couldn't script it. You could not script it.
Yeah, great ride by Dani Pedrosa. Obviously a mistake. And it's going to be even kick-off really now with Valentino Rossi coming in.
Look at that, Wilco Zeelenberg in there as well. He said last time in Sepang when one of the mechanics got up there that he hadn't been on the podium to collect a trophy. Looks like he'll be going up there, and it could be the most important one of the year. Valentino Rossi probably wasn't expecting it, but he finishes on the podium in third. And top CRT goes to Randy de Punier this week.
Oh, that's good news as well. Great ride by Jorge Lorenzo. Fantastic ride also, of course, by Valentino Rossi. And it's repercussion time in Honda. I bet the garage door's down there, and there's going to be one hell of a meeting in there that you wouldn't want to be part of.
Now, just a quick note on the top CRT with Randy de Punier. Aleix Espargaro was shown his board, CRT champion. So his team obviously say he's done enough to be crowned the CRT champion after this race.
Yeah, he just needed 50 points of an advantage over the next best, which was Colin Edwards, and he's done that today. It was at 49, so he just needed one more point really than Edwards, and he's achieved that today.
Dylan, what's your take on it all? Obviously, you're down in pit lane, and what's happening at Honda?
Well, doors shut, as you can imagine. It's pretty frantic. The crowd invasion has just started on the track, so they're trying to keep people out of pit lane at the moment. But I'm going to try and find someone from Honda and get a word on, on what the news is.
Good luck, because I would think there's some pretty harsh repercussions going on there. Was it Marc Marquez's fault? You'd imagine it must be. He must have misread the board.
Or the board wasn't clear enough.
Was the board clear enough? The only real board we saw was Jorge Lorenzo.
But surely he's seen, first of all, he
going
must have seen Pedrosa go in. So he's got to think, I need to go in the next lap.
That's the moment that the World Championship may be decided, but certainly the moment this race has been decided. Lorenzo in.
It's a great change, wasn't it, from Lorenzo, the way he launched himself off the bike. Brilliant from him. And when he's seen Pedrosa come in, he has to think, I have to do this the next lap. That was where Marquez stopped just before the 60km/h thing. It didn't look like he'd really stopped either.
Yeah, and then this amazing moment. This is Marquez coming out of pit lane, Lorenzo arriving at over 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, you see Marquez, it's not that he cuts across the track, he's on a natural line. Lorenzo is on a natural line. You can't say Lorenzo ran it wide there. He's just taken his normal line around the corner. And it was something he said was a worry if we have the bike swap.
And he knows it was the black flag. I think he probably realises why. And 25 points lost to Jorge Lorenzo. Just extraordinary MotoGP race. We don't want pit stops every time, Ryan. And I mean, it's very, very sad.
It's
look at the face.
Bitter pill to swallow for Emilio Alfamora. No Marc Marquez in the garage. There he is, actually, chatting. He's still got a smile on his face.
Yeah, look at that.
Still has a smile on his face. Well, that just says a lot about the character that he is. He won't be happy at all, but willing to smile about it. That was the shot of Lorenzo going through on Marquez. And look, Marquez's hand pushed off his hand was pushed off the handlebar, and I think it broke the brake lever. It is. You can just see it now, tumbling behind.
Is that the guard for the brake lever? Or was that the actual?
That looks like the guard on his glove.
Yeah.
That is the cover on his right glove. And it hit him quite hard as he is looking at his arm now.
What could Jorge Lorenzo do? He had to go on through on that line, didn't he? Talking points. Well, we haven't got we've got a long flight to Japan coming up. We know what the sole topic of conversation is going to be. Good to see Valentino Rossi also there on the podium, but his great battle with Cal Crutchlow and Alvaro Bautista, I'm afraid, will just fade into obscurity. It's what happened at the front, the black flag and the win for Jorge Lorenzo.
There's Valentino Rossi, delighted to take another podium here in Australia. Great for his team as well, all the Aussies that work there, that they get to celebrate in their home race.
Well, there we go. Lorenzo, Pedrosa, Rossi, other good rides. Cal Crutchlow fourth, Alvaro Bautista, great ride by Bradley Smith into sixth place. Nicky Hayden, and then Andrea Iannone on the Pramac Ducati, pushing Andrea Dovizioso on the factory Ducati back to ninth place.
Randy de Punier top CRT today. Aleix Espargaro, though, in 11th, is CRT champion this year, top CRT confirmed, so well done to him. Colin Edwards behind him in 12th place, had a good weekend all round. Johnny Hernandez there in 13th ahead of Barbara, and Petrucci the last point. We saw black flags for Marquez, Starring and Cudlin, and Hiroshi Aoyama was lapped but did finish the race in the end.
Here we go. This is what really counts.
Actually, Damien Cudlin wasn't given a black flag, it says on our timing screens. He did actually finish, but in 21st position. But we did see it up on the screens, I don't know.
18 points now separate Marc Marquez and Jorge Lorenzo. All that talk about winning the world title here now. He still could, of course, win it in Motegi in 1 week's time, but it could so easily now go down to the wire. What a shootout that would be in Valencia between Jorge Lorenzo and Marc Marquez. An amazing MotoGP race. We thought it would be, but even we could not forecast what was going to happen.
It's a shame in many ways.
Yes, it is.
That this has happened because the tyres couldn't deal with the track surface, which is a fantastic surface. And all credit to the people here at Phillip Island who have made that happen. And it's just a real shame that it's affected the race, but you can't knock the spectacle, you can't knock the thrill of that one at all.
Guys, I'm currently not able to grab anyone from Repsol Honda. As you can imagine, big chats going on there. The initial talks are that it may have been a pitboard error, however, that's nothing official at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it must be. It has to be something like that. There should have been one saying in now. He saw the side of Jorge Lorenzo's left-hand side of his tyre there. It looked pretty well worn. He gave it a lot on it. And, yeah, just incredible scenes here. Wayne Gardner down there. And his two sons.
We do speculate if it was a pitboard error, but if it was, what a mistake to make. I mean, okay, we're not used to pit stops. That is fair enough in MotoGP, but this was so crucial.
It was so close, well, for Marquez trying to stay ahead, but he's got the colder tyre, so he knows he can't take that risk in a way. You cannot criticise, as far as I'm concerned, Lorenzo for that one. I don't think he can, because he was on a fast lap and he was on a natural line. It wasn't like he picked up the bike and ran it into Marquez. He was just still taking his corner, and Marquez was coming across. It was like the Marquez and Espargaro one in Moto 2 last year.
In Barcelona.
Just different lines.
Yeah. He got a fair hot bump, didn't he?
And then the rain coming as well.
One of the great things is it all went in pit lane okay, didn't it? There's plenty to discuss, but there was no accidents and no major accidents in the race itself. So we got through that one. There we go. Confirmation. Aleix Espargaro, CRT champion for the second year in succession.
Yeah, looks like he'll be moving to join Colin Edwards at Forward Racing on aboard a leased Yamaha M1 engine with a frame provided by FTR, although Yamaha are helping them basically make that frame. And that's not been announced, not been confirmed. All we know is that Nicky Hayden is joining the Aspar team to ride a customer Honda bike.
And the riders will be making their way up to the podium any moment now. Then they'll be talking to Gavin down here in the television interview room. And the Honda garage doors remained firmly closed.
It's just a lifeline for Jorge Lorenzo. He's going to be the happiest man in Australia today.
Certainly is. You know,
well,
let's be honest.
Him and Paul Espargaro, shall we say.
18 points is still a fair gap, but he's really had it slashed, hasn't he? And Lorenzo really is now on a charge. But Teggy, you've got to say, may suit the Honda, is the home of Honda as well. But all he can do is, if he can push it on to Valencia, who knows what will happen in that very last round in 3 weeks' time. This is the battle for third place in that final podium position. Yeah,
whereas Rossi had blocked it off on the previous lap, Crutchlow left the door wide open there for Rossi to come through. That's, big hole that Rossi has just seamlessly put the bike through. You can probably hear behind us the celebrations from the Yamaha team as Lorenzo salutes the fans. He'll be making his way up to the podium.
There we go. There is the team's championship, Repsol Honda.
And again, Yamaha close in on that one. 45 points up for grabs at each race, 68 behind.
Yeah, it's a big ask, but it has helped. Once the Yamaha gained some very good points today from Cal Crutchlow in 4th place and Bradley Smith in 6th. Not a good day, though, for the Ducati team. that's the perfect summing up. Gav.
Yeah, it's just the rain as well, and all those just little factors that came into play have made it one of those just one of those days.
Well, look at the constructors as well. Honda now just leading the way, but Yamaha 18 points. 18 points in the constructors, 18 points in the riders' championship as well, isn't it? I got to say, for the right and wrong reasons, that's one of the most extraordinary MotoGP races I have ever seen.
Again, it's an unprecedented race. We said that, and we said history was going to be made. We thought it might have been in terms of the world champion being decided. Again, second bikes weren't their perfect machines at all. Lorenzo seemed to have his working well, and they're just ready now to get onto the podium. Look how happy and relieved Jorge Lorenzo looks. First of all, relieved to have come through that one.
You've got to say Yamaha certainly won the day as far as organisation, and both riders knowing exactly what they had to do. Danny Pedrosa had to drop back a place, speeding in pit lane, and Marc Marquez black flagged for running over the number of laps he could run on that rear tyre. It's a massive, massive mistake. What would have happened if that hadn't have happened? Doesn't matter. 25 points, Jorge Lorenzo, no points, Marc Marquez. He's going to celebrate in style, one would imagine, when he arrives, Jorge Lorenzo. Here he is. Magnificent Grand Prix victory. And that championship is far from over, that he thought was slipping from his grasp. And of course, he clinched the title here last year when he finished second behind Casey Stoner. But for the first time in MotoGP, he's on the top step of the podium. And Wilco Zeelenberg gets up there on the podium as well.
Yeah. Takes the first trophy this season. Valentino Rossi offers a kiss to Wilco Zeelenberg as well. Popular character, Wilco. And he celebrates that trophy for Yamaha. As Valentino Rossi takes the plaudits of the Australian crowd in third place. Listen to the roar for that. Popular figure here, as he is everywhere around the world, of course.
Danny Pedrosa in second place, had to drop back a place. It probably didn't matter in the end because the place he dropped to was Marc Marquez.
Just elbowed Randy de Prunier in
poor
the
old
face.
Randy, just come to look at the results and he's just been almost flattened by Gavin with his right elbow. But yeah, Danny Pedrosa, great second place, but without a doubt the most important result of the season so far. Jorge Lorenzo wins here in Australia and trails Marc Marquez by 18 points in the championship. 2 rounds to go. Congratulations, Jorge Lorenzo. They knew the leap would come. Danny Pedrosa in second place, Valentino Rossi third, Marc Marquez blacked, flagged. An extraordinary MotoGP race. What would it have been like if it had been the scheduled 27 laps it was meant to be right from the word go? If the tyres hadn't caused problems, if the new surface hadn't given so much grip, it really doesn't matter. This is what has happened. Roll on, Motegi. In 7 days' time, can Lorenzo do it again? Can he hang on to that world title? 2 rounds left. Motegi, 1 week's time, and in 3 weeks' time, the final showdown at Valencia in Spain. Extraordinary afternoon in all 3 classes. An amazing weekend in all 3 classes. And any thoughts that we had of naming new world champions in Moto 3, Moto 2, MotoGP, they've gone. We're on to Motegi, and let's wait and see what happens when we arrive in Japan.